I was on a call with Mr. Glenn Meyer, and he was sharing with me about this idea that had really stuck with him on the idea of conscious law. And the moment that I heard it, I remember I have a terrible memory, but I remember exactly where I was. I had been pacing in our on our second level of our home, and I remember the guest bedroom that I was in when he mentioned those two words for the first time, conscious law, and I smacked myself in the head with how brilliant a concept it was, and conscious contracts was brought up as one of the tools that are used as part of conscious law, um, and I was blown away that it was a blind spot that I had not yet considered in any way or heard anyone else speak of. In the world of conscious capitalism, there are many concepts that we throw around. The tenets and culture and stakeholder models and I think most of us come into that space because we already believe we're operating in a relatively conscious way. We just didn't necessarily have language, and then we all come together and we talk about all the ways we can be conscious. And no one had ever uttered any language to me around the idea that maybe our agreements that initiate our relationships in business are unconscious. So it was an area that felt completely blocked off to me until our conversation, and suddenly that door swung open and I was pretty dumbfounded at how we all missed it. Our standard agreements previously that I would call unconscious agreements, uh, you know, I would review the agreement to ensure that logistically things made sense according to how I expected things to operate, and that was, maybe at the high end an hour long process. Send it off. Someone's got questions. We answer some questions, maybe make a couple line changes, sign an agreement, and move on. In the conscious contracting process, it was insanely more thoughtful. Uh, we spent time really coming to understand the differences in terms of the values of the organizations. We spent time understanding and articulating our expectations of one another. We spent time really getting to know the humanity of the people that we were entering a relationship with. And it absolutely took longer, but it was so rich in the entire experience. Every interaction felt like we were gaining so much of an understanding of how we will eventually work together. There's the process of, so goes the contract, goes the relationship, and in this case, um, the thoughtfulness on both sides was incredibly comforting. So by the time it came to actually signing this agreement, I truly felt like we both knew what we were getting into, and we understood the complementary nature of each of the businesses in the relationship. Using the conscious contracting process up front initiated a bubble of trust, so to speak, that was firmly in place as we started and kicked things off. We didn't have to find our way into that and fumble around for the first several months of the engagement together. Uh, it grounded us so that we could truly start running together. The structure of conscious contracting gave us an ability to meet respectfully when I know my emotions were riled up because some expectations turned out to be misunderstandings, and we needed a safe environment to be able to navigate uh, with our humanity up front as opposed to our aggravations. And the process and the facilitation allowed for us to communicate effectively and feel like we were ready to take next steps together. Having a facilitator who understood the conscious approach and was interested in helping us to achieve a win-win was incredible support. It encouraged the better nature of myself to continue to show up through the dialogue and the process, as opposed to devolving into any kind of blame or any situation where as a business owner, blame is a great easy default for me as a human being, not just a business owner. Right? See things as obstacles and want to get them out of the way so I can achieve and make things happen. And this process forced me to continue to acknowledge the humanity of other partners in the relationship. And ultimately, that's an incredibly healthy approach for the outcome that we're all after. Yeah. So now we're in the process of winding the relationship down, and what I found in my experience was I was having a lot of emotion around some of what had transpired that was getting in the way of the process. And so I stepped back, and some members of my team stepped forward who had been in relationship with this partner throughout the process. And they were able to lean in and continue the tone that was set in our conscious contracting process that was insanely respectful, and continued to we had come together to be of service to a community. And my team was able to continue to put that community in the forefront of the decision-making process to ensure that even while we're winding this down, we're taking as exceptional care of the community we came together to serve in the process. So I'm incredibly proud of them, and it's not by any means a contentious wind down. It's a respectful understanding of this is a season that's coming to an end. That's okay. Everyone's going to be better off. We all learned through the process. We had some wins together. We had some losses together, and now we get to shake hands appreciatively and move on. Conscious contracts as part of conscious law are a worthy endeavor. Like, I love how the process has challenged us to be more mindful and thoughtful about the ways that we set up our relationships to be successful. There's a grace that is infused into the process inherently that becomes this supportive mechanism to, I think, everything that follows. So while it is a new and emerging field, and there are many questions that we still have to answer to perfect the process, it's worthy. It's meaningful, and as an owner, I think it's a source of pride. We have a certain number of sources of pride within the businesses that we grow, mm-hmm. and making a choice to be conscious in how we approach our most important relationships is something I'm proud of.